Hi there, my name is Efrat. Some of you may know me as Emma Rose Yarns. I'd like to give you a behind-the-scenes look at knitting and blocking my Slalulu shawl. The Slalulu shawl, designed by Naamaido, also known as Hasarganit, is a two-color brioche and garter stitch shawl pattern with a pattern repeat that multiplies as the shawl grows. I chose to knit the Slalulu shawl in a low contrast of two colors, using Emma Rose Yarns feather sock in the color Something Soft and Madeline Tosh sock in the color Soot. I decided to add a slight fade to the border using some light pink and lavender leftover stash yarn. This pattern is a good knit for brioche beginners, and I found it very soothing and relaxing, all the while still being interesting enough to hold my attention. For projects using natural fibers and different textures like the Slalulu shawl, I prefer to soak the knit in lukewarm water with a little bit of gentle soap. Once I immerse my knit in the water bath, I let it soak for about half an hour. After my knit is soaked, I drain the water from the bowl and try to press out as much water as I can from the fabric without wringing it. When the knitted object is wet, it is very easily stretchable and can stretch out too much as well. I then wrap the knit in a dry towel, squeeze a bit, and leave it wrapped to soak up the water for about 20 to 30 minutes. Blocking really transforms a finished knit, especially a lace or textured piece like this one. For this Slalulu shawl, I'm using a few simple tools that make the process much easier and help define the shape. I use blocking mats. These foam mats give me a flat surface I can pin into, and they also make it easy to spread the shawl out nice and wide so I can really see the pattern open up. I use blocking wires, pins, and knit blockers to stretch the finished item to the desired size, taking the shawl's shape and edges into consideration. I use pins and knit blockers to anchor the points and edges of the shawl once I've gently stretched it into shape. With the Slalulu shawl, I'm pinning out the tips first, which helps me establish the overall outline. For the straight, scalloped, and curved edges, blocking wires are incredibly helpful. Instead of pinning every tiny section individually, the wire runs through the edge and creates a much smoother, more even line. Then I just add the pins along the wire to hold the shape in place. This is especially helpful when you want those arches and lines to look consistent. I also like to check the symmetry as I go, especially with larger shawls. Sometimes a tiny adjustment to one point or curve makes a big difference to the final look. Once it's finally dry, the stitches set beautifully. You can really see how the texture, lace, and overall structure come to life. Blocking doesn't just make a piece bigger or flatter, it reveals the design you worked so hard to knit and makes your fiber bloom so that you can enjoy wearing your finished object, just as I'm about to enjoy mine.